So I was speaking with my dad once, and we had this very interesting conversation, but I can't really stay what we were talking about because I would probably get canceled or somebody would get really offended. So I'm going to give an example. So let's say in the movie Swordfish, if you don't know it, the main character, no, the whatever it's called, the antagonist, that John Travolta, I don't know the name, it doesn't matter. So the antagonist as the protagonist. Would you kill an innocent child to cure all the world's diseases? And then the main character was like, "You fucking sicko." But then he like realized that it's probably like a moral thing to do it. And then he asked him, "But okay, but what about 10 innocent childs? But what about 1,000? What about 1,000,000?" And that's when like really the moral dilemma started to like come in. And like, why am I stating that? Because in this video, I want to talk about how being moral, good and bad, it's really just no way it can be objective. Because is it really good? Are you really being a good person if you kill a child? Because it's normally considered a bad thing, right? It's considered bad killing a child. But also, would you be evil for not literally curing all the world's diseases, right? And like in history, if you think about it, I can give you like many examples of where being good and bad is so subjective. Like for example, I'm going to give you a scenario where think about on the Crusades, right? So back in the back like if we go back 1,000 years, right, to the Crusades, where literally millions of Christian soldiers went in and killed like a bunch of people, right? And the world considered that as something virtuous because they were fighting for the Holy Land, right? I'm gonna explain the whole thing. So basically, Muslims took their land and therefore the Holy Land, they took the Holy Land, which is a big offense to the Christians. And therefore, the Christians had to defend themselves, right? Well, they did defend their position, and it was one of the most fierce battles ever. It went on for about 250 years. They killed millions of people. And you know what? The people that were doing the killing were considered as heroes, right? But literally in the Bible, it's considered, killing is considered as a bad thing. But how come killing now is a good thing, right? How are the soldiers being considered as heroic? How does that happen, right? It's kind of weird. Well, if you really think about it, I've read a book from George Orwell, and what he says in his book is that anything that is done for your side is considered as virtuous. What he's trying to state with that is that, for example, I'm going to give you an amazing example. Let's say we're in a war, right? We're Americans and we're fighting against the Russians, for example. I don't know. And let's say a bunch of Russians kill 100 Americans gruesomely, no scruples, no compassion whatsoever. They kill them, and they're like some important figures, and therefore America starts losing in the war. You would consider that as the most evil thing that the Russians have done, right? It's like such a bad thing that happened, and the Russians are bad, right? But let's say if America, you're an American, right? You're an American and you love America. Let's say if America bombs, I don't know, let's say they don't bomb Hiroshima, they bomb Russians, right? And we win against Russians, but we've killed millions, or like let's say 100,000 people. We would consider that as a good thing, you know? We'd be like, oh yeah, but America is winning. And therefore, how is that a good thing? We literally did the same thing, but like 100 times worse than the Russians, but now it's a good thing? What's happening? Therefore, that's what we mean by virtue has prejudice. Good and evil are so subjective. Everything that is done on our side that is helping us is considered as a good thing. And therefore, if we go even deeper into that, everything that is done out of love, out of something, when we do something to protect the thing that we love, is considered as a good thing.